I'm not really even sure how to start a video like this, but I'm pretty damn sure, almost 100% sure. No, I am 100% sure that I'm not the only one feeling like this right now. Currently live in Ohio, in the great, beautiful utopia that is the United States. As this morning, following just the most evil, unhinged thing a president of the United States could ever say, is that he wants to commit genocide of the Iranian people. And yet he's still in office. He's still governing, and I say governing being just astronomically generous, because that's not what's actually happening, clearly. But I'm not a political commentator or anything, so as much as the entire country of the United States, a vast majority of them are struggling, and I'm one of them. But I'm 34, and I can tell you right now, there have been incredibly tiny pockets of time where at best I just wasn't suffering. And maybe was actually doing all right. Or was actually, no, I'll say, I was making some progress. Financially, career-wise, step in the right direction. Actually being able to get closer to being able to live comfortably. But time and time again, that quickly turns around. And whether it's just continuous strokes of bad luck, poor choices on my part, which sure I've made plenty, but just like from many people from my generation that I've heard throughout the past at least half a decade, said we just grew up during a time, we were born into a system that doesn't want you to actually succeed, doesn't actually want you to have what you'd like, what was sold to you, the American dream. For the longest time, I foolishly believed that if I worked hard enough, kept my nose to the grindstone, as they say, And eventually, the misery that I continue to face of quite simply surviving would just wash away. But again, I'm 34. And it hasn't changed. Or no, correction. It has changed. With each half a decade or decade, there's been change. You see where I'm going with this. The change has always been for the worse. Everything just gets more expensive. More and more things that I didn't care to have in the past, but now I would like to have now, or would like the at least the opportunity to have, to try and obtain, gets further and further out of reach. And every time I've had a stroke of bad luck, which that stroke of bad luck has lasted the last 20 years for me, I grew up poor. My parents were both poor. Didn't teach me anything about finance. All they essentially taught me and the rest of my siblings was just, again, the bullshit American dream that is not a thing and hasn't been for my entire life. Thus, I got credit cards for when I had bad strokes of luck, when my car broke down, medical expenses that popped up, random chaotic life events, and trying to just, again, work hard at the one job I thought, was told for my entire childhood. That's all you needed to do was just work hard at the one job that pays decent and you'll be good to go. I fooled myself into thinking that that was fine, that that was the way to go, and that it was working enough until, again, I needed to get credit cards just to fill the gap. And then with everything just steadily becoming more and more and more and more and more expensive, the balance went up and up and up and up and up. And just like I'm sure most Americans in my situation, or at least revolving around my somewhat situation, locked in the crippling debt trap that clearly was the goal from the very beginning. And just now, with gas prices being higher than they've ever been, ever, and I haven't been to the dentist in 6-7 years because I can't afford it. I don't get provided dental insurance. Last time I had dental insurance was, again, 5-6 years ago, and it didn't really cover anything. It covered an occasional checkup in like one cavity or something or other, and the rest was just ridiculously expensive, or just again, I'd have to bankrupt myself for anything. Haven't been to the doctors for like actual regular checkups like I wish I could do. Again, 5, 6 years. Last time I went to the doctors was I broke my fucking ankle at my dog shit job. And if it wasn't for workers' comp, I'd be homeless right now. Just like a lot of Americans are one paycheck away from being homeless. That would have been me. It was a couple months ago, the end of last year. And because of the workers' comp that is through my company, they made sure to take their sweet ass time getting everything to go through. I was days away from not being able to pay my rent, and not being able to pay for my car, and not being able to pay for my utilities, or pay for the lawyers that are handling the debt situation that I'm in right now. Over $26,000 in debt, and there's absolutely no way I'd be able to pay that off within my lifetime. Being that fucking dirt poor. And the job I work at right now, I make $21 an hour and work roughly 40 hours a week, sometimes over that. And I live paycheck to paycheck. If I was making $21 an hour 15 years ago, I would have been shocked, because I'd just be swimming in cash, because it wasn't just this completely unaffordable to just simply live. Been thinking about it a lot lately, but just how really taking a step back and thinking about how my default state of mind has just been miserable. It's incredibly fleeting moments of time in my life where it's actual joy, actual happiness, fulfillment, purpose. Thought for the longest time it was just maybe depression that runs in my family, or anxiety, which also runs in my family. Sure, that probably plays a part. Sure. But shouldn't, like, the people in charge want to make everyone have a good life? Shouldn't the people that govern want to make this a place you want to live in? Gives you a purpose, or at least gives you a reason to want to have a purpose? Gives you the opportunity to have a purpose? Why is that become their sole purpose? Their sole purpose to drive up the number of people becoming miserable and like wanting having no purpose in life and just becoming mindless drones. Why is it that with each passing year they seem to strive to up those numbers, as if this whole American experiment is just like a corporation and they're just trying to hit quotas. Like, hey, we've got 30 million people miserable and wanting to jump off a roof and just end it all by the end of this year. Let's shoot to try and make that 40 million next year. To make matters even better, because of how unattainable it is for me to pay off the debt, to maybe try and actually be able to save money, to try and actually be able to afford things that I wish I could afford, or to be even able to travel. I wanted to travel my entire life, but because of how just unaffordable everything has been my entire life, I've never left the US. I've pretty much damn near never even left Ohio, without the occasional when I was younger in my teens, went on family vacations once a year for the first 15 years of my life, and then after that everything became unaffordable for my family, so then we just didn't go on family vacations. I wanted more than anything to explore the world, but given the current state of America, they just want you to be numbers on a spreadsheet, just cogs in a machine. Just mindless worker bees that the second you drop dead on the factory floor, they just drag you away and bring in the next one. Even the other day, Trump outright said that, nah, can't afford to take care of your kids on the federal level. We're just not gonna, we can't afford to give your children childcare, can't afford to give you health care should have. Like, why is that such a strange concept that literally every other country on the fucking planet has universal health care because they actually care for their citizens, but the one country on the planet that claims to be the most superior out of all of them, that's just not possible. Instead, we gotta take all those funds and blow the shit out of people and commit genocide is what he wants to do, is what they want to do instead. Instead of giving a better life for all the people in America, it's more important that they extinguish an entire country of life. I veered off there for a minute. I meant to say that, yeah, to make things even better, because of the crippling amount of debt that I'm in right now, that is absolutely just impossible for me to pay off within my lifetime. I'm now being sued by that credit card company. Sued. Because of the unattainable amount of money that they want from me after being screwed by this very country, by just things being outside of my control and doing what was taught to me, instilled in me at a young age in school, was just go work in a factory, go work endlessly, just shut up and work, and everything would be cool. And what they don't tell you, of course, is that they want you to get into a bunch of debt so that you'll be endlessly paying for the rest of your life into this system. And then once you can't pay it anymore, You're literally back is up against the wall. You can't afford to even live, survive. We're going to sue you for the money you don't have for more money. As I'll be forced to file bankruptcy. It's illegal to be poor in the US now. I don't know what to do anymore. I wish I had drive in my life. But that's been slowly chipped at year after year. There's damn near nothing left. I don't look forward to anything anymore. I used to love playing video games, but that's too expensive. And a lot of games nowadays aren't made by people that want you to have a good time. They just want to monetize it and slowly suck money out of you by putting microtransactions in there so that you're paying for an overpriced game and then paying continuously for it some more after you've already obtained it, bought it. But then you don't actually own it. Because they can just take it away from you at any point for no reason. So lately, whenever I do end up booting up a system to play a game, I don't really feel joy in it anymore. Just kind of feels like I play them just because I always have, so I guess I might as well. It passes time. What helped a lot when I was in spots like this, which has been most of my life, is I had a little puppy. He was my emotional support pup. He gave me purpose for a long time. But I had to say goodbye to him a couple of years because I was too broke to help him when he needed me. So he could have been around for a couple more years, but because of being so just poor and everything being again so completely unaffordable, I had to say goodbye to him early. I'm not looking for sympathy or pity or anything. Again, like I already said, I just know that a lot of people are going through this too, so I just didn't want to continue to be silent about it anymore. Just wanted to make my voice heard. Just put it out there. That's one more person that is just that's just not doing good in this system. System that's clearly not working and hasn't been. the fact that later this year I will be 35. And I can guarantee everything will not be better. I'm trying to have a positive outlook, but it's hard to do that. At this point, I have the lowest expectations of goals. I have one. I would like to just actually be able to live, not just solely survive. I'd like for the constant, endless fear of being homeless or dying from starvation or having a health concern that I won't be able to address because it's impossible to go to the doctors without dipping into just sinking into even more crippling debt. Or feeling something inside of me that's just like, that's probably a real like a problem, like cancer or some kind of chronic illness that needs to be addressed, but I can't afford to do that. And then not waking up one day because of it, because something that I wish shouldn't be like the first thought in my head being, do I go address what could be a serious problem, or do I not, because I'm not going to be able to have a apartment a month from now if I go address this? Do I choose between my health and wellness or being homeless? And there's plenty of people's stories I've heard where that exact scenario happens, and that's seriously life or death. Life with crippling debt or death. So, life of just endless, constant misery or an early death. That's America. This has to change. Because I can't help but think that my entire life, in my almost in my mid 30s essentially, has been a miserable, awful, incredibly difficult existence in America. And I worry greatly for my nieces and nephews who are half my age or younger. What kind of life are they going to have? It is already wildly, unbearably painful to just simply survive and try to live in America right now. And they haven't left school yet, most of them. They're about to be thrown out into this. And it wasn't this bad for me when I got out of school 15 years ago. But I can say it's really fucking bad now. It's really bad. And that's what they're being thrown into. This needs to change. We need to change this.